Hello, my name is Brian Mills. I've scoured LinkedIn to find the one candidate whose particular set of skills are worthy of my team. I found him, and his name is Casey Wiggins. Casey Wiggins. Casey is a PC tech you can trust with your life, or your daughter. His skills in information security are extremely valuable. Skills like vulnerability assessment, network security, and computer forensics. Because without those skills, your data will be taken. His previous experience makes him a valuable asset in any crowd control scenario. That job is more chaotic than an Albanian whorehouse and twice as dangerous. Plus, he can cook a steak. I cannot stress how valuable this is to any team. With a degree in information security intelligence, I may have need for Casey for my next mission, unless you hire him first. Now understand, I don't make recommendations for just anyone. But Casey's profile has more stopping power than a fist to the throat. If you want to protect your family...
Dad?
Let's go, Kim. Connect with me, Brian Mills. But if you want to protect your data, connect with Casey Wiggins. I strongly recommend you follow my instructions to the letter. And if you think you can find a more qualified candidate, good luck.
So there's a misconception that LinkedIn is only for B2B marketing. This is this is a campaign that the movie production company came to us with, this idea. And I tell you what, B2C works on LinkedIn. I have tons of examples. I'm going to talk about B2B today. But it's a fun example of how you can take a campaign like that and get very creative. They came to us and they wanted to, the campaign was about the showcase page for the movie. And they wanted to get followers to talk about the release of the movie. So you could get, the contest was to be endorsed for a skill set, a certain specific set of skills from Brian there. And the showcase page just did tremendous. And the movie opened up #1, right? Which is crazy. I'm not saying one has anything to do with the other, because I've seen the reviews, and I think Howard the Duck got better reviews. But the idea is that B2C, B2B, whatever, if you want to connect with what we call the professional mindset, that's where you do it on LinkedIn. So I like to think of it as people spend time on other social networks, but they invest time when they're on LinkedIn. But today, I'm going to talk about humor in B2B. I'm not a comedian. I feel like I'm not even really a B2B marketer. I feel like I'm like this. I should be a heavy metal musician, like a hair band. Like I should be on tour with Winger right now, like playing not to full venues, but half size of like even this, right? Because I think that's what I'm supposed to be doing. That's what I wanted to do. Just didn't pan out for me. But I am going to see Whitesnake tonight. Thank you. But there's this thing called the top of the funnel. So I used to run global content and social at Marketo, and John Miller, no relation, he'll be the first one to tell you that, not me. John Miller, who's the co-founder of Marketo, was telling me about top of the funnel. He said, here's this thing where you can create content for B2B audiences, and it could be educational, inspiring, and entertaining. And I said, entertaining? I'm an entertainer, right? That's what I do. So I figured if I could take this approach to top of funnel marketing, have a little bit of fun with it, we might be onto something. So stat from Nielsen. And at the end of the day here, 47% of global respondents to their survey agreed that humorous ads resonates the most. Again, this works, right? There's no doubt about that. You've seen plenty of examples of that today. I'm going to walk through how I think about this. I'm going to share with you 2 examples. But again, this is what my day-to-day. I have a great team. I have one of the best jobs. I've never been happier because I create content that pushes the boundaries. It makes people a little bit uncomfortable. I call it giving a little bit of Axl Rose to your content, right? Axl Rose is dangerous. He doesn't mean to be. He means to be a perfectionist. But he finds a nice balance between that and going on stage late, right? So, first tip to you is that, of course, people buy from other people, not companies. We should all know that. The undisputed king of B2B comedy is Mr. Tim Washer. Anybody know Tim Washer? Thank you. Tim works at Cisco, and he's an ex-comedian. He used to be an SNL writer. But this is the guy to follow if you want to know about B2B. So I'm just going to, and he says famously, if you don't have a compelling story to share, show pictures of sharks. That's Tim Washer, not mine. And of course, the why. When a brand shows that it doesn't always take itself too seriously, it's a powerful way to demonstrate authenticity and confidence, as well as connect with your community. So I will show you how I do this at LinkedIn, and a couple of examples from people that I greatly admire. This is called the George Costanza approach, right? And as a content marketer, we have this problem where we want to talk about ourselves all the time. So what the George Costanza approach is if every instinct you have is wrong, then the opposite must be right. So when I started at Marketo 4 years ago, everyone was creating boring content. It was white papers. It was really ridiculous. So I came in with this idea to do the exact opposite. So what did we do? We created a coloring book for B2B marketers. This is one of the biggest pieces of content in Marketo's history. It's the big activity marketing coloring book. This came from an idea. Maria Pergolino came to me with this idea, and we turned it into reality. If you look at the rider, which a rider is kind of what for the green room, like that Van Halen gets, so the promoter gets all the green M&Ms out of the candy before they go backstage, right? So it's a list of demands from the band. Well, Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, being the brilliant marketer that he is, did a coloring book around it. So I took that same concept. It's on the smoking gun if you want to see it. It's brilliant. And we turned it into a big activity coloring book, doing the exact opposite, right? And people started to color these in. You could color in the influencers, and you could have fun with this. But we did what we call ego bait, where we took some influencers that we wanted to get to their audience, we wanted to get them to share this content. We included it in a nice, fun way. My favorite part was we did this conference matchup where you had to try to figure out what conference these illustrations were from and match them up. If anybody can tell, this is my favorite one. If anybody can tell me what that is, they got to put it together. Content marketing world. Now it looks like that's Joe Polizzi saying, "Come on in my tent here," right? But it's not. But he thought it was funny. He has a good sense of humor. And then we turn it into an entire campaign. Like, it's fun to be a marketer again. It's even if the B2C marketers don't have to have all the fun. B2B marketing can be sexy as well. So then I took it a step further. I came into John's office and said, "John Miller, I have an idea for the greatest infographic of all time. It's called Kittens versus Bacon." And he says to me, "I don't hate it," which means full steam ahead, right? So we created. We analyzed the mentions of cats and bacon on the internet. So we took cats and put it against Kim Kardashian. It's the only thing we could figure out that was getting similar mentions for a benchmark, right? And then we took bacon, benchmarked it against Kevin Bacon. It makes sense. I know what you're thinking. What the hell does this do for Marketo's audience? Well, here comes the value. We did some analysis, and we recommend ways that you can include kittens and bacon into your marketing programs, your B2B marketing programs, and then we have benchmarks, 8% increase in sales for kittens, 10% increased brand awareness for a piece of bacon. That's huge, right? And people love this. But we injected some personality into our content, and they came back. My second tactic, spitballing. Anybody spitball? Spitballing is to toss ideas around with no expectation of them coming to pass, to brainstorm. It's like freestyle brainstorming, if you will. It's whiteboarding. But those ideas, the ones that don't make it, that people throw in the trash, I take those and I recycle them because those are the best ones. Those are the ones that nobody else is thinking about, right? Spitballing, this was, we wanted to produce a piece of content for the holidays. And I wanted to include LinkedIn influencers. So I got together with Scorch as our agency. We did some spitballing, and this is what we came up with. Frolic in the Snow with Those in the Know. It was originally titled Thumpity Perspectives. No good? But anyway, we turned these are actual LinkedIn influencers, and we turned them into little snow people. And then we emailed these influencers these little graphics, and we put a little orange tie on Joe Polizzi there, which I guess is not the updated version. But what you would see is these avatars started popping up on LinkedIn. So now we had a viral campaign based on content that was already created. That's how easy this is. We spitballed this, man, into a pretty good idea. So some of the best advice I ever got in my entire life came from Miss Ann Hanley, the smartest content marketer on the planet, in my opinion. She said, "Jason, if you can take your love of heavy metal and infuse it into this content marketing thing, you might be onto something." So I've been doing this for about 4 years, and I've come up with my greatest piece of content, the greatest creation, the piece of content I was put on this earth to produce. And it came to me when me and the CEO of Scorch were on the Monsters of Rock cruise earlier this year, and I said, "Chris, I want the ultimate guide to creating a big rock piece of content, your marquee content, but I want it to look like God is coming down saying, this is what you're supposed to do, B2B marketers. And I want this Excalibur thing where a guitar is being pulled out of a rock with lightning shooting down." And he said, "You're crazy." But we did it. We released it 2 weeks ago. This is what it looks like. This is an actual piece of content from LinkedIn. I just won the award for pushing our brand review team to the absolute limits of what they can put up with anymore. But it's different. It's based on design, but there's a good story behind it, and there's great content inside. Can anybody tell me where the inspiration from this came from? Any Aussies in the house? Dan, if you're still here, you should know this. That's where the idea came from. Injecting personality into your content. The second thing is when I talk about the future of marketing, and I talk about how we organize our own marketing team at LinkedIn, people use org charts. Org charts are boring. I use KISS. SEO, social, content, demand gen, PR, all sitting together, feeding into the community, the KISS army. I'm a card-carrying member. I have been for 20 years. I feel like I'm part of something bigger. It's your B2B community. Do they feel like they're connected to others? Do they feel like they're part of something bigger? If they're not, then you're not doing your job. If you don't have a community that's engaged, then you don't have anyone to advocate for you and share your content. This is the future of marketing, folks. And finally, Doug Kessler. Doug Kessler will be on the podcast next Monday. This guy is brilliant from Velocity Partners. I took this picture. I also take rock and roll photography. I shot Rich Robinson here a little while ago. I've been here a million times. I'm shooting Whitesnake again tonight. Whitesnake. Where's the Whitesnake guy? Thank you. Doug Kessler says, aim for charming and enjoyable instead of hilarious. I'm not funny, right? I'm not a comedian. That takes a lot of work. I'm focused on helping marketers drive revenue with their content. That's where I focus my time. But my love of heavy metal fuses into everything I do. Doug Kessler has figured all this stuff out on how to do the comedic approach, and this is one of his pieces.
Here's a weird thing. Your sales guys are great at selling, and your marketing guys are fantastic at marketing. But your pipeline, not so great. For some reason, your sales and marketing people aren't working together. They're not on the same hymn sheet. They're at completely different barbecues. One day you read a blog post and discover what's missing. It's called sales and marketing alignment. You need some of that.
Oh, sorry.
But you're worried it sounds kind of embarrassing. You don't want to overdo this alignment thing. Your sales and marketing guys won't have to pretend to be best friends. They won't have dress-alike Tuesdays.
He gets it.
Or lunchtime sing-alongs.
Kumbaya.
They won't have to double date.
So creamy.
Or use emojis in every text. They don't have to commute together.
Mandy. What? Hey, Mandy!
Or go all gushy on conference calls.
You hang up. Okay, all right, bye.
That's not sales and marketing alignment. That's just stupid. Sales and marketing alignment is just a few common sense things. Get together once in a while, maybe with biscuits. Agree on what an ideal prospect looks like.
Nice.
Define when a lead is really sales ready.
You like? I love.
Link your marketing automation to your CRM and track the stuff that matters. That's it. Sales and marketing alignment. Break out the biscuits.
Good lad. I made that for you.
Anyway, Dave, were you part of that campaign? Dave Thomas from Salesforce, brilliant content marketer and very funny guy. You got that catch-up bit that had me rolling on the ground, man. That was fantastic. Anyway, but it really is that easy, right? So don't over-try. Doug told me that they went through several iterations of this, lots of scripting, but they came up with a piece that wins. It's fun, it's approachable, it's enjoyable, and it addresses a very huge problem in B2B marketing, which is sales and marketing alignment. But it got people talking, and it got people to like that brand. John Miller told me, again, no relation. John Miller told me, he said, there's one metric I want you to measure. He said, get people to like us, right? And I think that's what top of the funnel content really does well. So there's a movie called Almost Famous where the little guy is interviewing Russell from the band Stillwater, and Russell says something about don't say everything on the road, and the reporter says, "Well, I will quote you warmly and accurately." And Russell looks at him and says, "Just make us look cool, man." And that's what top of the funnel does. You can experiment, you can have fun with this stuff, right? Draw in the attention, get people to like you. Draw in the attention, draw in the inbound traffic, and let the nurture tracks take care of the rest. And if all else fails, just drop an F-bomb. That slipped out one time when I was I was keynoting in the morning, and I get really excited. I turn into Chris Farley's character from SNL, the one that lives down by the river in a van, and I'm like running across here, and it slipped out. And I thought, oh my God. And the other thing I did was a big mistake, is I read the comments from the keynote that morning. And there was one guy, I was the highest rated speaker of the day, but there was one guy, and he said, the F-bomb took away from the content. And I thought, it's impossible. Look at Gary Vaynerchuk. This guy, his whole life is an F-bomb, right? I'm like a intelligent risk wrapped in a parental advisory sticker, but I don't do this on purpose. It comes out of me because of my passion, my excitement. And when you're doing this B2B marketing thing, that's what people can see right through. If you're not passionate about helping someone do better with their marketing plans or do better at driving revenue, they can see right through that. So the occasional F-bomb, I think, is okay. I wrote a blog post about it on LinkedIn, which you can all publish on LinkedIn now. You should be blogging, I hope, posting long-form content there. And about 88 comments later, it was taken that it's split down the middle. But that's okay with me because I like to think that people know what they get when they're getting me. They're getting an Axl Rose, except I'll be on time, right? I'll be a little bit edgy. I'll make you a little uncomfortable with my content, but I'll get people thinking differently, and that's what I want to do. So the other takeaway from that was, B2B marketing is hard. Marketing is hard in general. You shouldn't be trying to please everybody in the first place because you never will. But don't take comments seriously. Don't take them personally. Just try to keep on the path of what you're creatively passionate about. That's what I do. This is my book. This is everything I know about content marketing and social media marketing pulled into one. It's I was going to call it a bathroom reader, but it wasn't moving any units at the digital version. So no good. Anyway, and there's it's another. I have a few copies of this. David said he'd give away a few, so I think I brought 3 copies of it. If you can't tell what it's based off of, Slash has seen this, so there's no legal lawsuits pending yet. And another thing, if you read the book, the illustrator, I hired him from Fiverr because I'm self-published through Heavy Metal Thunder Publications. Anybody ever heard of that? We got T-shirts and everything. We're completely legit. So I had him illustrate these rock stars and these quotes, but he got evicted from his house right in the middle of the book process, and I'm like trying to beat this deadline. So towards the end, Neil Diamond kind of looks like a Muppet, and Buddy Holly looks like Bob Dylan, and Patti Smith he looks like a gorilla or something. I don't know. Anyway, but the thought is there. So anyway, that's all I got, folks.